Before there was a city of steel, lights, and endless motion. Before the skyscrapers touched the clouds and the streets echoed with a million footsteps. There was an island, quiet, green, and ancient. This is the story of New York City. A story of dreams, ambition, struggle, and triumph, the beating heart of America. Long before the world knew this place as New York, it was home to the Lenape people, Native Americans who lived by the rivers, hunted in the forests, and fished the waters that flowed through the land they called Lenapoking. They believed every river, tree, and rock had a spirit. They built villages, traded with neighboring tribes, and lived in balance with nature for thousands of years. The land was rich, the Hudson River teemed with fish, and the forests were alive with deer, foxes, and birds. To the Lenape, this place was sacred, not a possession, but a gift. The year was 1609 when Henry Hudson, an English explorer sailing for the Dutch East India Company, arrived aboard a ship called the Half Moon. As he sailed up the wide river that now bears his name, Hudson saw a land of promise and opportunity. By 1624, Dutch settlers founded a small trading post on the southern tip of Manhattan Island. They called it New Amsterdam, a humble start that would one day become one of the greatest cities in the world. The Dutch traded furs with the Lenape, built wooden houses, and brought with them the spirit of commerce and tolerance. In 1626, legend says the Dutch purchased Manhattan Island from the Lenape for goods worth about $24, though for the Lenape, the idea of owning land was foreign. They believed land could not be bought or sold. New Amsterdam grew quickly. Merchants, farmers, and families arrived seeking fortune. The harbor bustled with ships, and languages from across Europe filled the air. It was diverse even then, and diversity would forever define New York. In 1664, English warships sailed into the harbor. Without a single shot fired, the Dutch surrendered their colony to the British. In honor of the Duke of York, the brother of King Charles II, New Amsterdam was renamed New York. Under British rule, the city expanded. Cobblestone streets, churches, and taverns appeared. Merchants grew wealthy from trade, and ships connected New York to the Caribbean, Africa, and Europe. But along with wealth came injustice. Enslaved Africans were brought to build the city's infrastructure, their labor hidden beneath its growing prosperity. The British established control, but the spirit of independence was already alive. The colonies were changing, and New York would soon find itself at the heart of a revolution. By the 1770s, tensions between the colonies and Britain were boiling. Taxes, trade restrictions, and the desire for self-rule drove the people to rebellion. In 1776, as the Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia, New York became a battlefield. The Battle of Brooklyn was one of the largest of the Revolutionary War. George Washington's army was outnumbered and forced to retreat, but their determination never broke. New York endured fire, occupation, and chaos, yet it emerged strong. When the war ended, New York City briefly became the first capital of the United States. And in 1789, George Washington took the oath of office as the nation's first president, right there, on Wall Street. A new nation had been born, and New York stood at its cradle. The 19th century transformed New York like never before. Ships from Europe arrived daily, bringing waves of immigrants, Irish escaping famine, Italians seeking work, Germans, Poles, and Jews searching for freedom. They came through Castle Garden, and later through Ellis Island, the gateway to America. Between 1880 and 1920, over 12 million immigrants passed through New York Harbor. And the first thing they saw, towering above the waves, was the Statue of Liberty, a gift from France. Its torch burned as a symbol of hope. Life was not easy. Tenement buildings in the Lower East Side were crowded, noisy, and often unsanitary. But the people worked hard. They built the railways, dug the tunnels, and laid the bricks that shaped the city. New York became a city of many tongues and many dreams, where no one was truly a stranger, because everyone had come from somewhere else. As one immigrant wrote, "Here, I am free to be what I wish. I am no longer a name in the dark." By the late 1800s, New York's ambitions grew as high as its buildings. Steel replaced stone, and the age of the skyscraper began. The Brooklyn Bridge connected Manhattan and Brooklyn in 1883, a marvel of engineering and human will. Then came the Flatiron Building, the Chrysler Building, and the most iconic of them all, the Empire State Building, completed in 1931 during the Great Depression. It was a time of hardship, breadlines stretched down streets, unemployment soared, yet the city's spirit refused to break. New Yorkers looked upward, believing that even in dark times, the sky was still theirs to reach. The 20th century tested New York again and again. In 1904, the city's first subway opened, a miracle of modern transit. In the roaring 1920s, jazz filled Harlem's clubs, Wall Street boomed, and the city pulsed with energy. But in 1929, the stock market crash sent shockwaves through America. Thousands lost their jobs and homes, yet New York endured, transforming hardship into resilience. World War II brought factories, workers, and innovation. After the war, soldiers returned home, and the city flourished once more. By mid-century, New York had become the cultural and financial capital of the world. The United Nations chose it as its home, a symbol that New York belonged not to one nation, but to the world. In the 1970s, crime and financial crises shook the city. Many called it the lost decade. But through art, music, and determination, New York fought back, giving rise to hip-hop in the Bronx, punk rock in Manhattan, and a rebirth of creativity that changed global culture forever. Then came September 11, 2001. A clear blue morning turned to tragedy as the Twin Towers fell. Nearly 3,000 lives were lost, but the city did not fall. Amid smoke and sorrow, firefighters, police officers, and ordinary citizens rose as heroes. Out of pain came unity. And years later, a new tower, One World Trade Center, rose from the ashes, standing as a testament to New York's unbreakable spirit. Today, New York City is home to more than 8 million people from every corner of the earth. It is a city of languages, flavors, faiths, and faces, a living mosaic of humanity. From Wall Street to Central Park, Times Square to Harlem, Chinatown to the Bronx, New York is a world within a city. It's where art meets ambition, where ideas become empires, and where every street has a story. The skyline sparkles at night, mirrored in the Hudson River. The hum of the subway beneath your feet, the rhythm of footsteps, the laughter, the sirens, it all becomes one heartbeat. New York's heartbeat. Writers have called it the city of 1,000 dreams. Frank Sinatra sang, "If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere." And every day, millions try, and many do. Through wars and waves of immigration, through fire and loss, through triumph and rebirth, New York has stood tall. Not perfect, not easy, but forever alive. It is a city built by dreamers, held by workers, inspired by artists, and protected by heroes. A city that never sleeps, because it never stops believing. This is New York City. Not just a place on a map, but an idea of courage, hope, and endless possibility. From the island of the Lenape to the towers of glass and light, this is the story of New York. The story of America itself.